Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As you already know, this is your U.S. General 5-drawer tool cart with side tray and deep compartment. Today is Friday, as you can see. We now back over at the storage unit, getting back to it, getting busy as always. All right. In today's segment video, what I'm going to do is give a little informative information and a few tips to just quite a few things that I just happened to notice. All right. In today's video, what we're going to take a look at is some socket rail organization, just as well as some ratcheting and extension organization. In the past, I have put out a video showing how I purchased and I picked up two Goliath socket rail trays. All right, we're going to take a look back at that because there's quite a few things that I happen to notice. All right, but I ain't going to hold you up too much more longer in the introductory of things. But as I always state, as usual, I always keep my signature lingering somewhere in the background. My Dunkin' Donuts coffee. You already know. Okay. So pretty much I'm about to get, quite a few things out to the top of the tool cart, and we're going to dive right in. So walk with me. Let's get it. All right. In the past, I have talked about how I wanted to change, my socket organization towards the top of the U.S. General 5-drawer tool cart. All right, when it came to the socket rails and socket trays and things like that of that nature. So a while back, I did purchase, as you can see, these two Goliath socket rails, as you can see, made by Industrial Tools right here, and how, it has its black tray with the red clips and things like that. One thing that I want to point out to individuals, depending upon what type of equipment that you have and, the different size and range and dimension of sockets that you have, especially when it comes to some of the bigger sizes. And my suggestion, I advise that when you are making purchases on items like this, you want to make sure that you have enough space to fit, all your different denominational sockets and things like that of that nature. When it comes to these rails right here, they come in different size lengths. Now, this is a 30-inch cart, okay? And the trays that I actually have sitting inside the cart are actually made by Cobalt, all right? Um, I purchased these two in the beginning because I want to see, what I can fit along towards the inside, because I do have a different large selection of sockets. So when I obtained these, all right, I just happened to notice, how you see here is, I believe, 7 to 8 clips for half-inch drive, and then on this side this is 3/8 drive. Then they give you another set of half-inch drive here, just as well as half-inch drive here, and then all of this is 3/8 drive, and then you have 1/4-inch drive. All right, so my thing is that I was going to put these inside the cart, all right, but when I happened to notice the clips, my socket arrangement is different from the setup, the way that they have it. Now, you can always take these clips off towards the back. As you can see, it has a clip up here that blocks it from coming out, but you can depress it here so that they can just simply slide off. All right, but the issue that I was having is that even though I have rails that are somewhat designed the same way within inside the cart itself, okay, the clips are actually smaller than the rails, so I cannot swap some of the particular clips to this rail. All right, so when purchasing these, all right, just make sure that what you're looking to set out and how you may see things to look. Always good to get a good visual, all right, upon, because everybody has their OCDs and things like that, and their way of, how they like to see things laid out, right? I'm very specific when it comes to that. As you can see, I'm very like color coordinated with everything, not just with my tool cart, but just about everything that I do is always color coordinated, even down to the tools and how you see everything is all in red and black accents and things like that. But it wasn't always that way. The only reason why this cart is in red and black was due to the fact of the Milwaukee equipment that I obtained in the beginning. So that's where the color scheme started to come, as I was going along with the modifications in this cart. And then just as well as I was upgrading a lot of equipment and moving into more higher grade, just as well as Snap-on, okay, I started going into the red and black accent of Snap-on's equipment just as well. All right. But just to give you a little idea, of what I actually have in the top chest and how I have things running along, from front to back. Okay. It's not to say that I cannot have things running from side to side. So I'm going to give, a good look at that real quick. All right. So we're going to dive right in. So walk with me. All right, now as you can see how I have, my sockets laid out in a certain particular orderly fashion. All right, as you're taking a look at here is my metric. The deep impacts are, these deep impacts are Tecton, so you know that they run in numeric order without, no skips and things like that. So just alone in this row here is 16 sockets, okay? But there's only 3 rails. All right. On these 3 rails, there's 12 different sets of sockets, which, it's not everything that I technically need or the proper measurements the way that I would like to see things sitting at the top of the tool cart. All right. Another reason for me changing up some of the trays is if you notice towards the middle, all right, you see a blue rail. Okay. Just as well as I have a red rail here and a red rail there. I used to have 2 different US General tool carts. I also had a 4 drawer at the same time as having this 5 drawer. But before I actually had both of these carts, I had a Northern tool cart, okay, with a open slot in top, and the accents of everything was mainly more in blue. Until I moved over and made the transition into this particular cart, which I started now moving into the aspect of color coordinating things with red. But the thing was is during the time I was still lacking the tray, and it wasn't a major thing at that prior moment. All right, but as I started to go along, this was the only oddball thing that was technically still within the cart. So this is why I went to move along into trays like this. All right, so what I wanted to do was I wanted to sit these 2 red trays towards the outside for standard and put the metric on the inside, or switch them up. Okay, now the thing is how everything is ran across here. All right, I could run things from side to side, and it would enable me to be able to get 5 different sets of sockets running along down at the bottom, just alone with these particular 3. But with this 4 all together all the way around, it would give me a whole lot much more space when it comes to the socket layout. Some of this stuff would have to go in other areas, like the Mac Talk precision wrenches and things like that. Like some of my Snap-on equipment, I absolutely don't have any of my Snap-on equipment directly in this cart. There's the ratchets and things like that. I keep my Snap-on equipment separate for a whole nother storage unit, which I may need like a 60-inch or a 72-inch, because my socket capacity, it exceeds a small cart like this. So I definitely need a bigger storage for that set of equipment, just as well as I have plenty of sockets from Sunex, Tecton, Gray Pneumatic, Duralast. There's so many, Craftsman, Snap-on, Mako, um, what is that? Astro Pneumatic, the nano socket sets and things like that. The Milwaukee sets, I have all the Milwaukee sets from 1/4 inch drive to 3/8 drive to the 1/2 inch drive, all in there, full general service sets and things like that. But the full general service sets is more for my carry out, where I don't technically have to come back to the cart if I need to perform some work, without me not actually having the cart. I can just snatch one of those boxes and get to it. I may not necessarily need a pneumatic, because I have plenty of cordless to cover things outside of a professional shop just as well. All right. And you can take notice to that in a lot of my videos. Like, I'm heavy on air pneumatic just as well as cordless equipment, but cordless equipment is not my first primary go-to. My first primary go-to, it will always be air pneumatic. All right. So that's pretty much when it comes to these socket trays. I advise that when you are looking at something like this, to get a good idea of how many sockets that you will actually have testically, compared to when purchasing, and counting the clips, and counting not just the clips, but the different drive size that come along with it. All right. Especially depending upon how you tend to run things, whether you want to run things from side to side or from front to back. All right. So now we're going to move along and we're going to dive right into it. Let's get it. All right. Another thing, what we're taking a look at is the Earnest. All right. These are actually extension organizations. All right. But you can use them for ratchets just as well. As you can see how I have, a long list, of line of ratchets laid out. In some time back, I did discard, I think it was like 2 to 3 ratchets from my selection, that I'll be replacing with something else. In my selection, I am discarding, what is that? My 1/2 inch drive Mac Access locking flex head, because when I got it, it's nice and things like that, but I am kind of unpleased with it. Plus, on top of that, I actually have 3 different 1/2 inch drives. I have 2 locking and what is that? 1 non-lock, and I have the 18-inch snap-on, just as well as I have 2 24-inch 1/2 inch drive. One is a locking and one is a non-locking. And then the Mac Access locking is what is that? That, I believe that's a 26-inch. Okay, but I am discarding that. I did discard one of my Mac 3/8 drives just as well, my Access, because I actually had 2 of them. All right. But these Ernest rails, they are very, very nice, and they're also good for the extension setup. So that's another idea, that I actually have for up top when, I start to move things and shift things around according to, how I like to see them. All right. But these are good purchase. They are a good pickup. You can run these laterally, from side to side in some of the longer drawers, just as well as you possibly may be able to, fit them in some of the smaller drawers, depending upon what you have. All right. But when it comes to the longer measurement sizes, like the 24-inch and the 26-inch, I have them fitting in this bottom drawer comfortably. This is one thing, technically, the difference between having the 4-drawer US General and the 5-drawer US General. When I used to have my 4-drawer US General, my 24-inch and I believe long snap-on 1/2 inch drives, I never used to have to bend the heads in order to allow them to fit inside the drawer properly. As you can see right there, you see the 2 heads that are bent. Those are 2 1/2 inch drives. Okay. But you see, that they do fit along within the bottom drawer. But in the 4-drawer US General, you don't have to flex the heads. They will basically lay down in the drawer comfortably without the heads being flexed. So that is kind of the difference between having the 4-drawer and the 5-drawer. I forget the capacity of the 4-drawer, but everybody knows that, the 5-drawer is a 30-inch cut. Okay. So, like I said, before making your purchases and things like that, do your due diligence. Once again, get a good visual on how you would like to see them. Because, like I said, everybody has their own set ways of, how they like to see things and how they have things laid out, at their convenience when they're working. They want to be able to, they don't want to have to rumble through things just to find something. A lot of times, there used to be individuals who would ask me because they would see, how the top of the tool chest is, it looks a little cluttered and things like that. But to me personally, it works best for me because, it's not really as cluttered like how you would assume. Like when I need something on a snatch and go, it's right there. I can just simply open, the top of the tool chest and just reach for a particular socket. I know, what the socket is, and I can just simply just go right to it, pull it, and get to moving and doing what I need to do. All right. So I still pretty much, have some work ahead of me. Like I'm still not finished, with the modifications and things like that of this particular cart right here. All right. When some subscribers and some viewers, they take a look in on things and, sometimes there's questions like, what much more, can I possibly do? You actually don't have an idea. Like, some of my ideas is wild and crazy. It's just I never really got an opportunity, to really get to the work until I actually brought, this tool cart to a storage unit where I actually had time to work on it. Because when I had things in a professional shop, I was working 6 days a week, for very long hours, sometimes 14, 15 hours, a day. All right. I always used to do a lot of overtime and things like that inside the shop. So I never really had time to get around to doing the modifications and things like that. So since I've been home from work, I've been able to get, through a good, I may say 85%. I still got maybe about 15% more to go, as far as what I want to do just alone with this particular car, while I'm steadily looking at purchasing, a bigger storage unit for all the motherload equipment that I actually have just as well. All right. All right. All right, so we're gonna end this video right about now. It's Friday. Everybody enjoy the rest of their evening. Have it a safe and a blessed weekend. All right, and until that next video, all right, that next tool haul, that next tool review, that next modification video, and every other, piece of content that I tend to put out on this channel, we're gonna check you later. Peace.